2:30. You missed it.
Thanks for watching another Slice of SciFi video review. I'm Noah Richmond.
And I'm Daren Gulsvik.
We are talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. Finally, Marvel has gotten the rights to take Spider-Man, put it up on the screen, do it the Marvel way, and I guess it's a film that is rebooting Spider-Man for the third time, and once again being rebooted back to a high school kid. It's definitely a fun movie. I did think like it was a film that kind of hit the right notes in the sense that I've been feeling some of the other recent Marvel films have just felt too much like comedies, like where they, you know, they felt the need that they had a formula and they have to make you laugh, so they force all this humor in.
Doctor Strange was like that.
Doctor Strange, I thought, really suffered from that. I really liked how this one, it felt organic, you know, it felt like there was some creative force behind this that, you know, really had some sort of storytelling that they were doing. And it was kind of neat getting to see Spider-Man placed in the Marvel universe.
It almost kind of feels like, well, why should this feel funny? Because it is Marvel, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, I would give it the old golf clap. That's probably what I would say, you know?
Yeah. We're saying that it's a film, it's rebooting something that, you know, we didn't really feel needed to be rebooted again, but that, you know, they really did do a good job of keeping it fresh and energetic and fun and engaging. But we also would have to say that this is very much a film that is a hard watch if you are somebody that is wedded to Spider-Man being a particular way. Spider-Man was, you know, he was this working young person, but not really a child, not like in high school still.
He paid taxes.
Making his money as a photographer for the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
You know, he's got...
we had adult problems.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and everything that we know about him, was portrayed fairly well in the, you know, in Sam Raimi's original film.
Yeah, it was.
This film just throws all of that out the window, and you have to be somebody who's okay with that.
Do you think it has a lot to do with the fact that, you know, maybe a younger generation can call this their Spider-Man? Because, you know, we like this storyline as it's been replayed over and over again, but maybe the writers of this movie just figured, you know, we're going to make a change and go with the new era, you know. And that's why I think you saw a lot of changes made of the characters and their ethnicities that played them and such. And I think my biggest problem with it is that the high school setting, I'm not really interested in that, and only because it's been done so many times. And I think for me, when you're dealing with adult things like, you know, the Avengers are right now, I know he's a Spider-Man and he's got these powers, but how in the hell is a 15-year-old kid going to be able to fight when you have Thanos, you know, and this big war coming? It just doesn't seem, and not to mention he was like rubbing elbows with Captain America, Spider-Man or not, you know, because as in the comic books, as he got older, he got stronger because naturally.
Right.
So, and the one thing I will say about it, I appreciated this movie, it didn't give us a spoon-fed play-by-play of how he became Spider-Man.
Right.
Which, you know, in an origin story, I think we've kind of all agreed that's been played way over time. Because by the time you're done with that part, you've already used over an hour of your movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I appreciated what this movie was and what it did. It's just...
But the other thing, because you were just saying the biggest problem was him being in high school. Actually, I thought that maybe an even bigger problem, and I think you would agree with me on this, is they do an interesting job with the villain. But he is not. Again, this is, you know, this might be different if you just the source material is completely foreign to you, and this is your total introduction to it.
Yeah.
But if you already know that villain to be a particular way, he's not really as evil as he should be.
Well, and Michael Keaton is a great actor. I thought Birdman was amazing, and he's got some range, obviously, more than I thought he had. But I just think because of what you're saying, you know, the character Vulture,
Right.
and lifted from the comic books was this creepy old, man
Right.
that was capable of really heinous things. And here we're presented with a version of Vulture that's really, mechanicalized, family man that's
Right.
that you actually kind of like.
Right.
I mean, that's the problem in general, though, is that the main antagonist, the villain, is just not very, villain-like.
Right. See, like, for instance, if you look at the Netflix Daredevil show, they create this Kingpin character who they really go out of their way to show you his human side and give you some sympathy for the things that make him what he is. And yet, at the same time, there's never a question that
Right.
he's evil.
Well, even there's a part of this
That-
movie that explains why he became the Vulture, and it's like I can totally, and that's
Right,
and
and that's
it's
right.
humanizing him.
He's too sympathetic.
Ugh.
You have an overly sympathetic Vulture. You have Spider-Man back in high school yet again. You have a spider suit that's, it makes him into an Iron Man Spider-Man. I mean, all of it just sort of combines to be something that, I guess, coming from where I was coming from, oh great, Marvel's got the rights back, so now Sony can't go do these stories that are completely unrelated to the comic. Now you're going to get something that's really true to
Right.
those original comics, and instead it goes just as far outside the source material as the Sony films. Ever did.
I wonder if by throwing Spider-Man into the Civil War movie and trying to make this link, if that actually hurt the movie in some ways, because bringing Tony Stark into this, it added that whole new that narrative that we're already familiar with, and like it just felt. All right, we're not really getting the Spider-Man movie, but we think we should be getting because it's connected to this Avengers and it's connected to Tony Stark and his suit is given to by Tony Stark and it's the furthest thing away from the typical like blue collar Spider-Man that we've all kind of grown to
Right.
love.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it kind of like that I liked about the Tobey Maguire one is that when he got his powers, there was a discovery and he genuinely seemed excited, and he kind of grew with his powers, and he's used them in a nice, really visual way. In this movie, we don't get that really, and I
Yeah.
know they didn't show the origin of him, but still, it just there were not enough sequences to make me think he was that neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He was kind of plugged into this greater idea, which was becoming an Avenger, and it just seemed to me and as the movie progresses, it does a good job of getting back onto that line I'm talking about, which is becoming the neighborhood protector, if you want to call it that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, certainly a lot of the faults we're talking about, it largely redeems in a lot of way by the end.
Yeah. Tom Holland
but-
was a good. There's two things here. After watching it, I actually appreciated Tobey Maguire that much more.
Yeah.
And Tom Holland, he does a good job. I mean, he's got a really boyish thing about him. He's kind of small.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I've always pictured Peter Parker and Spider-Man to be a little,
Right,
at least 6 feet tall or 5'11". And I'm not saying you need to be short to be Spider-Man. I mean, be tall to be Spider-Man. But anyway, that's kind of an irrelevant observation. But basically, my feeling about the whole movie is that I just wasn't impressed with the villain choice, or at least not the choice, but the way they, depicted him on the big screen. And I think that's a problem with a lot of Marvel movies. They have a villain issue, and there's not enough terror in the villains.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like you were mentioning on Daredevil and on the Netflix movies, because I also thought in Luke Cage, Copperhead was one of my favorite villains so far.
Uh-huh.
But that's one of the things holding this movie back from being great, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Spider-Man: Homecoming. I think what we have to say about it is it's fun and we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we were also disappointed. We are old guys set in our ways, looking for our Spider-Man story to be told a particular way that it wasn't.
Maybe we just need to let go, man.
Could be.
No, I mean, maybe we'll get it the next time they make the movie. Yeah. Two old guys. Does Steve Ditko? Does he think he is going to be watching this movie?
Yeah, that was. It's funny you asked that because the whole time I was watching, that was exactly what was going through my head. Is yeah, I don't know that Steve Ditko is going to approve of this one.
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, yeah, because it's like it's part of that. These are his babies, man. The characters.
This is definitely pretty far away from the Ditko Spider-Man. That's for sure. All right. Anyway, that's our thoughts on the movie, and thanks for watching Slice of SciFi.